Hey guys, Thomas Jr. here, aka Mustached, and welcome to my review of Doctor Sleep. Now, before I can even officially begin my review, please consider supporting me by liking, commenting, and subscribing, also checking out the links in the description when we'll head you over to my Patreon page. All of these things will help me avoid channel death. Hopefully I can somehow jump all the way to 1,000 subscribers from where I am now, because otherwise I guess YouTube just doesn't consider us real YouTubers if we are under the threshold of 1,000 still. Anywho, I did not actually write notes for this movie. I was actually just watching it beforehand until I learned that it was actually, I guess, a sequel to The Shining, and that a lot of other people were already reviewing it as well. So I do apologize if I kind of scatter about in this particular review, but nonetheless, we follow the kid, I think they just call him Doc in this, who grows up and he's an adult now, and he uses his shining ability to eventually come across this young girl who has a separate ability, and her ability seems to transcend past just... well, I guess it's also just called The Shining, but what The Shining is capable of seems to be expanded in this movie. They have different terminologies for the different types, like pushers and seers, and those are the two I can think of off the top of my head without any notes, but nonetheless... it also turns out that there is a group of individuals that are more of the supernatural inheritance that find individuals with the shining ability and proceed to suck out said shining ability by luring them away and then killing them and then sucking them out of their shining energy. So that is pretty much the premise. We see this group, like, for instance, take out this, find this young baseball boy, like, actually capture him in a van, actually take him out into a field and then hack him away and then take out his soul energy, I guess. I think that scene, by the way, was probably the most effective scene in the movie. The rest of it's just kind of meh. That was like the only real scene where I was like, oh man, this is actually getting kind of engaging. The whole Doctor Sleep bit, by the way, comes from the Doc, when he's like in this little hotel room. He has this little cat with him that goes into these rooms that finds these really old people, showing them that their time is about to pass, and then the doctor comes into their rooms to sort of guide them into, according to him, their next life, or, you know, whatever you believe in. So that's sort of the setup of his character in terms of just up until the girl arrives with her abilities, and she eventually finds him. They do have a pretty good joke about her talking to him in like this park, and then her being a kid and him being an adult, so they actually go for the whole pedophile joke. I appreciate it because of how much people censor those types of jokes outside of, you know, whatever. So I always find those even funnier because they are, you know, so frowned upon usually, from what I can tell, at least on Twitter anyway. So anyways, she's able to use her abilities to essentially either trick or push out this opposing threat. And the doc suggests that the one place that they could go to is the original hotel, turn it on, let all those ghosts come back out, and lure one of the remaining ghost people into this house. They managed to gun out the rest of them. There's like, I want to say 6 to 10 of them, around that range. And and from there's like one remaining, sort of the one we started with, the one at the beginning who takes out the little girl that we see at the very beginning. So yeah, that's that. In the process of this, of returning to the house, the doc has a setup where he lights up the house, gets it ready to blow up. The girl is already outside, and then the woman chasing them is already inside with him. So he essentially sacrifices himself for this new shining girl, and then has a bizarre ending where she sees one of the shining hotel people, the old lady ghost in particular, goes into the same room as her and just closes the door. I'm sorry, but that ending has me at a loss. I really don't know what they are trying to go for there. They showed the scene once before with the doc doing this as well, but again, because the door just closes and then it cuts to the next scene, it doesn't explain anything, unfortunately. It just leaves it, I'm gonna just say, too vague. Like, I don't know what that means. Is that good? Is that bad? I don't know. Other than that, this is another scenario of a character passing down the torch. I've talked about this not even that too long ago, about like how, for Terminator Dark Fate, of like, oh, you're just gonna kill the character and move on, and I will say it didn't seem like they tried to spit in the character's face as much. They just kind of killed him. When they could gun out the other ghosts, however, or ghost people, I should say, I do find it kind of odd that he felt the need that they had to go to this location to stop her. I don't know if that was even really necessary, but okay. So yeah, she takes over, assumably. There's not. I don't know. I think I would give this movie a 4 or 5 out of 10. I want to say. Like I said, there's like a few good scenes here and there. Like I can kind of see where they were going, kind of making the bad group a little bit actually opposing in that way. But outside of that, there wasn't really anything that caught my interest in terms of the character and what he was doing and his little setup. It just didn't grab me in any significant way or anything like that. When I went to go watch it as well, it seemed like more people were laughing at the movie, like it was supposed to be a comedy, which I don't know if that's what they were going for. I think it had that effect too, if I'm not mistaken. More people are finding it funny rather than, a horror. So yeah, I don't know. I would probably just stick with that 4 or 5 out of 10. And yeah, it does seem a bit odd that they're suddenly now deciding to do a sequel to The Shining. That particular movie felt like a self-contained story. Whether whether or not you like that movie, which I haven't seen it in a long time, so I kind of don't remember a lot of the detail, or like some of the details of like how good or bad that movie was. But they do make the obvious nods to the first movie here. The more iconic things you see, like the blood coming out of an area, the twins, they show footage from the original movie, like the early kid Doc riding in the hallways. Like they show Jack making his way, going nuts, doing all that stuff. The more iconic bits of that stand out in the original Shining. Again, whether you like that movie or not. Again, I can't help but compare that part to Terminator Dark Fate at the beginning, where they show the better movie and then they go into the shit immediately. At least here they save it for the end. Again, I'm not sure if that's the best option necessarily, but whatever. I don't really care that much, I guess. The character, again, just wasn't... I felt like they didn't do enough with him. Same with the girl. I can't really say, like, her setup is that she has power. Like, shining power. That's her entire character, from what I can gather. Her parents just sort of accept it. She's not, like, treated like an outcast or anything for those abilities. It's sort of just, just there. I don't know. It just feels like there's a lot of wasted potential with that sort of stuff. And when I saw this movie, I actually was, what movie was it? The one that M. Night Shyamalan did, Glass? This movie kind of reminds me of Glass, with, like, them expanding, like, what potential powers characters have, and the crossover that did. Maybe Stephen King, I should say. I was about to say Stephen King. Stephen King. I don't know. Maybe he should collaborate with M. Night Shyamalan to make, like, a book/movie thing with, like, the Glass universe and this universe colliding, because it does seem like The Shining, in terms of abilities, is starting to sound a lot like characters from Glass. Or the other movie that I thought of, I forget what it's called. It has Dakota Fanning in it, and it's like they have powers. I'm trying to remember the adult guy in that movie. I can't remember his name. And, like, other characters have special abilities, and then they're, like, trying to find this tower. But the tower's, like, hidden because one of the characters inside of it has, like, that special ability to hide, like, powers. And Dakota Fanning's character has, like, the ability to see the future. If anyone knows the name of the movie I'm talking about from what I'm describing, please drop it in the comments. Like, could these worlds collide? Because it sounds like they're all starting to materialize into the same universe without actually doing that yet. I don't know. Am I crazy in thinking that there's potential there? I don't know. Anyways, I'll leave it there. Again, if you did like this video, then please feel free to like, comment, and subscribe. Also, make sure to check out those links in the description. One will head you over to my Discord server, the other to my Patreon page. Any donations are desperately needed. And until next time, everyone, bye-bye.